Bill here. It is Saturday the 17th, 2022, and this is the second time that I'm starting off to do this video. I'm doing a honing video today, and this is mostly for Matt, so he can see. That's Lukey3262 at the Shaving Cadre. By the way, my commercial for the Shaving Cadre. Please do check out the finest shaving forum on the face of the earth, theshavingcadre.com. A lot of great guys over there that enjoy our hobby. And Matt being one of them. Matt had asked me sometime back about honing this razor up. This is a Art of Shaving Thiers Issard 5/8. That he considered it goofy, and it was. Let me see if we can get a view in there where you can kind of see. Let's see if you can. I might have a couple of pictures that I'll see if I get a couple of pictures that I can put in there. To show the bevel and how it goes. But what I really wanted to do, I really wanted to see if there wasn't some way to get in. There it is. You can kind of see how this piece, the warps and the bends kind of in the edge area. It's not quite so bad. Some of it you can see on that side how the reflection is, some on that. And the bevel follows along that way. An interesting thing, and I'm going to tag Jared in from the Superior Shave because razors like this were part of the reason that I think he dug and ultimately brought about a methodology and a way for the average person to be able to hone razors like this, the way that razor makers had done that. And there was a document that was found that from 1860s that they were honing on curved tones, convex tones, and how they went through a progression. It will be interesting to find out his story, and I'm going to see if I can put bits and pieces of it together. As I understand it, there was a time, I don't think it's quite as bad today. I've gotten a number of TI razors, and none of them were looking like this. During this era right here, I think the Art of Shaving, when they had a lot of brick and mortar stores and malls and stuff like that, I think I heard somebody say that they had placed orders for the entirety of the razors that Thiers Issard could make, straight razors that they could make for a year. Okay, and there's still a lot of these around. Okay, and at one time, Jared was carrying these, and people would get something like this and they couldn't hone it up, and they'd send it back to him, and he would look at it, and obviously he would see it's bent, it's goofy, and difficult to hone. So he would return it to the manufacturer, and never once did the manufacturer say, gee, that piece is, you're right, that piece is no good. What they would say is, we make these things by hand. okay, and we make them as best as they can be made by hand, and we don't see that this is outside of our normal acceptable tolerances. So if Jared took a razor back from somebody that he sold, no fault of his own, and it was bent up, he lost money because they would send it back because he can't resell it. And this would have been there was a window. I think there was a window where they were making a lot of really, really goofy type stuff, bad stuff. This evidently, I believe, is one of them. And the guy Matt got this from couldn't hone it, and Matt couldn't hone it, and so I tried. And what I did was I put together a kit that I was gonna loan out, and that kit consisted of stones that I had gotten from sharpeningsupplies.com. Okay, these were a little less than 2 inches by 8. They were dual grits. These are water stones. You do have to soak these, and I wanted to see how are these going to work? Is this something that somebody who has an interest in trying this, is this an inexpensive way that they could go easily shape these? And I thought so for a while. And then the reason that this is the second time I'm doing this is because I already honed this, okay? And one thing I had noticed when I had used these before is it did seem like these stones were prone, no matter what I did, to cause little chip outs in the edge. And while I did get through this, and I did go through the strop, and I do have this, and I did do my packing peanut test, and this does kind of go right in there on a push cut. I would consider this probably shaves pretty good. But when I take it and I look at it at a glass, I see some little chip outs that I just don't like. And I'd honed up a couple of other razors using mine animal stones, and did a couple of gold dollars. I did these. I'm giving these away. One was a guy I gave one to. He liked it so much he sent me a message. He says, I like that better than when I bought from this guy who specializes in gold dollars. Okay, and so I told him I'm not in this commercially. I don't want to be in this commercially. I don't want to sell razors. I don't want to hone razors. I want to, I make these videos and I talk about this stuff on the forums, not as a matter of commercial interest, but as a matter of just personally what I like to do. Okay, and I would like to continue with that. So one of those is going to him. Another one is going to Mike Schultz, who had an interest in honing, and he, like a lot of other people, are. It's kind of new to them, and it's an unknown. It's not really what it's unknown some places, but it's not a popular way in the modern scheme of things for honing. And I've taken my share of beat downs. Got tossed out of a forum because people didn't like me making these videos and talking about them. But not once would anybody want to, on the forum that gave me the toss, not once would anybody want to sit down and talk and systematically go through and talk about this. All they wanted to do was deliver the beatdown. And you won't find that at the Shaving Cadre. Anyhow, I'm going to redo this. I'm going to redo this for Matt, okay? And I usually don't ever kill an edge. I really don't ever do that. But in this case, I'm going to take the Shaving Cadre shot glass that I got at our convention, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if if moving this along here doesn't knock off some of those chips. Okay. Some people drag them on the edge of the stone, which is okay. So one of the things that I found is that the stones that I bought, and this is one that works good on made on the Jared shaping plate, where this is like a 6-foot wheel. Okay, this is like a 12-foot, 24-foot wheel. Okay, and the combination of these two on that develops an ellipse. Less something you'll see this way, more something that you'll see. You can actually see the wear pattern of where the high spot is on the ellipse. Okay, this works good for doing what I call the back beveling, where I'm working. Jared works with, I think, 3 different radius stones, and he has played around with flat afterwards. The ancient 1860 Grinder's Handbook talks about a highly curved stone of coarse nature, and they do specify what the stone composition is. Then a lesser convexed surface, and then finally they say a flat. And then I think they also talk about using abrasive strops with like jeweler's rouge, which is iron oxide, and then I think they talk about a black one, which may be something close to this. These two are balsa strops, have the Herald paste on there. So now that I've killed this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Nanawa Super Stones. I was going to send those other stones to Matt to try. I'm still going to actually send them because I'm going to recurve. I'm going to recurve this one. Okay, so 8 and 10,000 on the high curve. I'll send it all to him. It's good for a back bevel. I like to use either the Arkansas that I shaped, or I like to use the conical that I shaped on the 3-foot radius. But they're staying here. The Nanawa Super Stones are, I consider these tools to be somewhat expendable. I don't use them a whole lot because I like to use I do use my Nanawa 12K a lot, but it's worth it. I don't use it that much, and I'm gonna take a chance that maybe sending these to Matt. I'm also gonna do another one of Matt's razor. I'm gonna do his Philly, which was geometrically not the best, and he asked me if I would take a look at that, and I'm gonna do that. I'll probably do. I don't think I'll do that on camera, but I'll probably do that on the Arkansas stones. Vinny! Gotta yell at the dog. He's yapping. Okay, so what I'm going to do. This razor was done. Okay, I don't think this will do. It just kind of bounces off. You're gonna have to excuse me a minute. I gotta deal with it. Finny, that's enough. Sit down. So, hopefully. So. I'm going to use the 1K Nanawa stone, and I'm going to go through the progression. That's enough. That's enough. I'm going to go through the progression all on the longer radius. So the combination I have, this is a 1 and 5, and this is a 3 and an 8. I'm going to go through the 4 of these, then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to redo the back bevel on this. Okay, because what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to reestablish the edge first. And before I send these out, one of the reasons I don't necessarily, I think these are great stones, these nanos. I think these are really, really great. But one of the reasons I don't use them that much is because they have a tendency to swarf up like that. And they wear a little bit faster. Those ones from Sharpening Supplies, they really were long-wearing stones, so you didn't have to worry about the shape so much. These, you have to worry about shaping them. But if you're in a position that you wanted to do this and you did not want to take the time investment to shape Arkansas stones, this is another option for you. And in the initial shaping, it's a little bit of time, but you start with 60 grit. I did all these dry in the beginning and then finished with wet dry paper because I didn't want to be washing a lot of that stuff down the drain. I've heard from guys that say that you got to be careful in these whetstones in what you wash down the drain. And so I really think that for the most part, that right there at the 1K pretty much took those chips out of there pretty easy. And when I look at this, I don't see the coarseness. It's a much smoother scratch pattern, much nicer scratch pattern than with the other ones. So at this point, I will say that those stones are really fine because they're fast cutters. They're really good. They're not that hard to shape, being smaller and stuff like that. I'm going to say that these are good, a very good option for stones to do a back bevel. And right now, I don't know. I'll have to play with them on a grit, but for the most part, I have that 3 and that 8, and I'll be kind of using that. So at the 1K, I'm just wanting to check. So now I'm getting a slide cut. Okay, going in, no push cut at 1K. Feeling with my thumb, I might need a little bit more to reestablish that edge. And the stroke that I'm making is pretty consistent no matter what. You'll notice that there's a couple things that I don't ever do. I will look at a razor to see, but I don't measure for the bevel angle. Okay, I don't use tape. Matt had somebody on his YouTube channel delivering the beat down because he wasn't taping the spine. It's like, dude, if your razor is so precious that you have to tape the spine and you're worrying about a little bit of wear on there, why don't you just take that razor and why don't you just take that showcase queen and put that in the showcase, and it'll be perfect for you for the rest of your life. Okay, and on a convex stone, I've never seen a reason to use tape because, and here's part of the reason why. Okay, so for the stroke that I make, let's see if I can get this. Okay. I make a stroke. Okay. So I go like, get a little closer on the camera. So I come across it, and you can kind of see how this one, it does have a curvature this way. So I do have to kind of rock across to get. Now, The difference is that if this was a flat stone, okay, I would be on here and I would be doing this, okay, and I may be doing a rolling motion, trying to do a selective pressure to pick up for some of the curvatures in this blade, but I'm keeping the whole spine on the flat stone, all wearing all the time, okay? The wear is only in the same area where I'm creating the wear on the edge. So razors that are honed in this method are far, far less likely to show some of these severe spine hone wear type things. So, and I guess that's maybe, I don't know, maybe the person who went after Matt will come after me too. So that'll be fun. So the stroke I'm making is, you do generally have to work a little bit more on the heel, okay, and sometimes a little bit more on the toe, but in the motion as you're going across, okay, I'm going to do kind of a pull going across, and then the same thing going back, but even if I'm doing straight up and down, generally by the mechanics of the strokes that you're making, especially if you're doing any sideways motion, it can't go this way, so you have to go this way, so you'll always be getting less abrading on the heel than you would the toe. And then if you do one of these any of these fancy type things like that, there's a huge difference in the amount of friction that happens here as to what happens out here, which is why I think a lot of razors, older razors than that, you see that they're worn down at the toe. And as I understand, there were some razors that were deliberately forged, where the forging was, if you measured it, they were wider at the toe than they were at the heel, because that's where the wear actually happened. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this through. I'm developing the edge that I like, okay, and I'm going to take this through that progression there, and then I'll come back on when I move over to back beveling this, and then take it from there, because I'm at 22 minutes of my yakking time already. So see you soon. Okay, so back again. That did not really take that long, because I had done most of the work earlier on this razor and then just kind of killed the edge. So I've gone through the 4 stones, and this is where I make a departure from the ancient handbook of German grinder, where they say start off with the curved stone, okay? And again, I don't know, it would have been nice if you could talk to a guy like that and learn, but it was one of those things that even in his handbook, he did say that because the shaping of those stones all had to be done by hand, it was very, very tribal knowledge type of thing, where you kind of learned how to do it, and if you learned how to do it, you did it, and there just really wasn't until modern times when Jared came along and made a plate which enabled the average person to consistently shape a hone. But what I used to do is, before I started doing according to that ancient writing and doing the back beveling, where I had a compound hollow created into the bevel itself, I would go through my series of these 4 things, or use the Arkansas or some combination of those, and then I would go to the Nano at 12K. And when I started doing this little test here, what I found out that there's a progression, and I'm getting not quite a clean push cut, but a push cut, but a little bit of a pull along the side at an 8K level. Okay, so I do see the steady progression. I wipe these things off. It's just water on the Nano Superstones, and on what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the back bevel with the Sharping Supply stone. I'm going to use a 3K because it's pretty quick. I don't know how much of the previous back bevel I have taken out, but I'm going to do this. And one thing I found out on the first video that I threw away was that these work much better with a little bit of Dawn liquid in the water. Okay, something you're not supposed to do on the Nano stones, because apparently the soap gets into, or the detergent gets into that stone and degrades the binder. Okay, so the stroke here is a little bit different, where I'm not. You try and keep this as perpendicular to the stone as you can, and since it's narrower, you do have to make sure you do this type of motion as you're going down. You have to get some sort of an X stroke going onto it, and this is where particularly you will need to spend a little bit more time working, and I'm leaning into it, differential pressure to get a little bit more on to the heel, because it does, by the nature of the stroke, see less time of braiding. And that previous step, doing it that way, it's not terribly critical that you go through that progression. I like to do that because I like to see, have I created an edge without chips, and using those things, I just really don't see the chipping like I did on these. Okay, and on this is where some of those crazy imperfections in the bevel, the stones that are in that dimension fit up into, because of the curvature, better into the curves that are in the razor this way. But also what this does is this does cut away, it does cut away into the bevel, back behind the bevel, and gives you a little bit of clearance, so that when you go to the finishing stone, there's that little additional amount of material that's been moved, makes it a little bit clearer. For me, once I started doing this, and I think the first time I did this was this caracule used to be, instead of curved this way, it used to be curved on the short dimension this way and the longer dimension this way. I think one time I honed it sideways, honed the first one sideways. After I started seeing Jared do this, I thought, I got to try that. And then I reshaped it, and it has been, for me, a super game changer in the performance of my edges and how much I like them. And again, that's me. That's not everybody is going to like this. I think, some people don't want to do this because it's not the way they were taught, or some people are going to be afraid that they're going to hear too much grief from the people that like to give other people grief about what they do with their stuff. Now I'm going to switch over and I'm going to go to a little bit smoother. I'll double check. Sometimes you can see that back beveling created. I don't really see it this time. You definitely on these on the gold dollars, since they're bigger, you definitely do. You know, on that 6/8 and the larger size, you definitely do see where with these dimensions you do actually get a split in the bevel. And sometimes this is where on the heel, this is where you can lean down into that, and that's where you can do some of your more advanced strokes to selectively concentrate the wear that you're going to want on the razor. And sometimes I'll do this, and gotta get the bottle out of the way. I don't know if that was there on those last couple strokes. I apologize. Sometimes I have done this, and I have taken this step and completely erased the first bevel that I put in there, and I believe I have done that now because I've gone and I've hit to the edge with this, because the cut that I was once getting is now it's just kind of bouncing off of there. So now it is clear that I've cut away some of that and gotten really, really close to the bevel. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if on the Nano at 12K, if I can just be working further out almost to the edge, because normally I do this on an arc, but I'm doing this since I'm sending this gear to Matt to try. I'm kind of showing him a method that has been successful for me. And what may happen, okay, I don't, Matt, when you get this stuff, if you have some really, really rough razors that you want to play with, rather than to put the wear on the nano stones, okay, if you want to do that first thing with this, there will be a 1 and a 3 on this, and this is in the same dimension as this and the nano stones. I'm going to send this along too. This will hold its shape, and this will really cut a lot of material off pretty fast. So if you are practicing around with goofy looking Chinese razors or whatever, or stuff that was kind of in the junk pile, and you want to just get the feel for it, there's a way to keep, because I'm not sending, it cost me a fortune to send you the plate and all that stuff too, and not having one, there's only going to be so many razors you can do before you begin to change the surface of this. And just like on flat stones where you have to occasionally relap and keep it flat, you have to relap this back into the shape that you want it to be in. So, okay, so that brought it just that little bit. I'm going to need a little bit more on the heel. Okay, but that little bit kind of brought it back. And this is where some of your fancier type strokes, some of your swooping type strokes, you do, and when I'm doing this, I am moving my pressure across and as you go through this, you can kind of learn where it's not only pressure, but you keep your pressure on the spine, and then how much torque. So I can keep a pressure down and moving across, and not even have the edge ups, but how much I actually torque this down into the stone is all in a combination of how much you do this and what kind of feel you get and what kind of results you ultimately get. And that'll be something it's just, you learn it and you got to go by feel. So that's a push with a little bit of a really nice out on the toe. So I'm going to work this a little bit more till I get a little bit more consistent push cut on this across the edge. Okay, I'm back again in my inspection with the glass. I'm looking at this. It still does have a pretty goofy looking bevel. I don't know if we can, that kind of shines a little bit there. Let's see if I don't know if you could see the goofiness of it. Not really seeing it, but it's kind of shiny. It's smooth, okay, and that's what I like it. And I do my little push cut here. It's pretty consistent going all the way across. So now I'm going to move to what really, secondarily for me, after doing, or in combination with double hollow on the bevel, was moving to balsa strops that had been shaped in the same way of the stone. This is Herald Green, okay, which is chrome oxide, and let's see, who was it that asked? Super Trunker on the Cadre, maybe Trunker Dixon on YouTube, had asked me about balsa and where I got it. Okay, these big pieces I got, it was an inexpensive thing. I think it's Specialized Balsa LLC. Got it online where you get a bunch of cuts and it really drops your cost down. They have several grades. Okay, because they sell balsa for people who build model airplanes and stuff like that. This is a little bit heavier and denser. I originally wasn't sure whether I would like that or not. The original ones that I like the most are the first ones that I got, and you could get these from Chef Knives to Go. Okay, they have this base. This base is the 3x11, and there's a number of different stropping materials on there. And this is where I first saw balsa strops, was for knives, and they make these ones. The nice thing about it is each of these is individually packaged to so whatever media you put on it, it stays in this package. You know, you mark it on the thing and mark it on the side, and then it always goes back in the same one. It's a magnetic backing. It mounts on there, and a lot of times I'll put the rubber feet down on the counter, and a lot of times I'll work this way. I like these. This is a little bit softer balsa. These are expensive, the most expensive of the balsa that I've got. So like one of these, I think it's $11, and if you got like 6 of these, you know, do the math, plus the base, and then. But one thing I like is I do have a rue strop that goes on there. That is more expensive. That is untreated rue, and I like that. That was the first place that I started seeing rue used for stropping material, and the guy who started that was a guy by the name of Ken Schwartz. He passed away late last year unexpectedly, but he was the first guy that started using and started publicly pushing the use of CBN abrasives on rue, and that's where I got all of that from. The second place that I got balsa was, and this was one of the curvy strops I made, one of the first ones, and this was with a piece of balsa that I got from Hobby Lobby. I've not seen it in the Hobby Lobby close to me in the store, but I've seen it on their website. This is a softer, and you can see that it takes a little bumps more so. If you look at the grain, there's like a denser grain on this one. This is heavier. This probably weighs 30-50% more by size, but this was a nice one too, and I like that. I had gotten some of these. I did this one. This was 2x3. I've taken these and I've made them like this, curved like this. I've also gotten 3x3 of these. Since I got these to pass around, this is what I got. It was a little bit less expensive, and then the the stropping motion is also kind of a rolling kind of a thing where you and you don't have to put a lot of pressure on there. A lot of this is how much torque you use and how your stroke moves across. I think this is a more safer way to strop than to be stropping on a hanging strop when you add an abrasive to it. I do like to do this on the table, although one of the popular ways to sharpen razors has been with abrasive films, and a lot of the popularity or the procedure that you follow with that is to follow up those films with a balsa strop. They do stress flatness in that way of doing it. I've never done it. I can't comment on it because I've just never done it. But there are a lot of people who like it and who are happy with its low setup cost and the results that they get, and I applaud that. One of the things talked about is to do this in hand, because and have everything flat, because the idea is that you can if it's not in your hand, you can use too much pressure, and you can degrade the edge that you put on it. A curved strop is a lot less likely to do that, because you really, especially with this material being a little bit harder, you really have to torque or actually lift up the spine when you're doing this. Do make sure you wipe the razor off. I commonly do the final thing on my shirt, so that you're not cross-contaminating. My procedure is going to be Herald green, then Herald red. The particle size on this is published to be about 5 microns. That was chromium oxide green, iron oxide red, Herald. This is what they call their medium in the 2-pack. I don't think they call this coarse, but it is coarser. This, I think, is published to be 3 microns, around 3 microns particle size. And then the other one in the little crayon packages from Herald is the black. I don't really know what the abrasive is. I don't know if this is iron oxide, diamond. I don't really know. This is published to be 1.5 microns. The next step on these balsa I am at home. On my other stuff, I started off with half micron CBN and quarter micron CBN. These two, the half and the quarter, are diamond. I didn't see that much difference between diamond and CBN until you get to the finer. And I did redo that set of strops, whereas you can see where I scratched out, the 1/8 micron. I went with 10th micron CBN on this one, and this is CBN. This is identical to the strop that went to Barber Dave, and then directly do wipe off between. I think I said that already. Clean the razor between steps. You can on this one here. This is a piece of rue that I got and mounted. This has been shaped. You can go from that 10th micron. There is a little bit of. I did put a little bit of 10th micron on here, and I saw Jared put a little bit of ballistol on the piece that I had sent him, and so there's some abrasion to this. And then on this side, this is also shaped. This is a horse hide I got from. I'd been keeping a lookout, kind of wanting to get a hanging strop from Tony Miller, and I wanted one of the horse hides that he gets. When he had them in stock, I didn't buy a hanging strop because at that point I was developing a lot of this. I did contact him and asked him. So he gets some really good pieces of leather. Okay, he makes. From what I've seen, some of the finest strops money can buy, and he lives in an area not far from where I grew up. Okay, but this is horsehide, and this procedure, going through that progression, green, red, black, half, quarter, 10th, rue, should leave just about any razor with a really keen cutting edge. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish that up. I might be done with this and then go to do. I won't be doing it today, but maybe tomorrow I'll do a test shave. I also have. I'm going to also test shave these gold dollars that are gifts from me to other people, and then I'm going to be doing. And I also want to do a test shave on this because I've never shaved with a Philly before. This is I don't know if they call this the third, double temple. This is number 14. I don't know if this is second generation. Matt had a little bit of trouble with this. He thought that this area could be a little bit better. This on my test, it's on the toe. It's nice. There's a little bit on the heel where it's just not matching, and I can see where it takes a little bit more pressure. The toe is really, really nice. He's made wonderful progression with his work with his J-nets and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to see if I can tweak this up a little bit. I may or may not do a video on that to include that in, but I'm going to want to test shave on that. And it's late here on Saturday since I started early, and I did a bunch of videos, and then I scrapped them because I didn't like what I was getting with those stones that I had came up with. So anyhow, until the next, take care. Bill out, and again, do check out theshavingcadre.com. You'll find Matt there. You'll find a bunch of other great guys, many of them who enjoy the camaraderie that we have in this crazy hobby we have. A lot of them are straight razor shavers, do enjoy the special thing about we have this crazy thing we got about putting an edge on a razor and then using it. They don't all do that, but everybody has a little bit of a story to tell. Do check out there in the member shave video section of the Shaving Cadre. So join us and have fun, and I'll see you soon.